Hi everyone, it's me, Kat Muir from Cheap and Easy Eats, and today we're going to do a very simple meringue. Hi everyone, so it's me, Kat Muir, and we're going to be doing meringues today. I'm going to show you a really simple, basic, easy way to do meringues, and meringues are fantastic. There's not very many ingredients in them and they will last if you keep them in an airtight container for about 8 weeks, 10 weeks. So it's great if you've got people coming around to your house after all lockdown and everything's over. If you've got people coming round, then you can make them in advance and then just bring them out on the night and they're perfect. So to begin with, all we need is, per egg white, we're going to use 50 grams of sugar. Now I find it best to use icing sugar just because it gives it a stiffer kind of end finish, but you can use granulated sugar or you can use caster sugar if you prefer. Caster sugar gives you a finer mix because it's a finer sugar. If you use granulated sugar, you kind of get like more chewy bits in the middle, so it just depends really on the end process. But icing sugar works very well all the time, so I quite like to use that. I'm going to use 3 eggs today and 150 grams of icing sugar, so it's 50 grams per egg white. So if you want to do like scale it up, if you've got more people coming, you can do it that way. If you want to scale it down and just use 2 eggs, then you would just use 100 grams of icing sugar. So to get going, what I'm going to do is separate my egg whites to my yolk, and I'll use the yolks for something else. And I've got a stand mixer today. If you don't have a stand mixer, that's okay. If you just use a hand mixer, it just takes a bit longer. You can get a bit of a sore arm. I use a stand mixer because I can go away and do other things and set a timer. So that's why I'm going to do that today. But you can use a hand mixer if you don't have one. So if you're using a stand mixer, you want the balloon attachment because that's going to whip the maximum amount of air in. And if you've got the hand mixer, you've just got the 2 little mixing parts, which are like 2 little ones of these. So I'm going to start off with the eggs. Now, I like to separate the eggs in the eggshell. There's lots of different ways to do it, but this is how I do it. So I'm going to crack the egg on the side. I'm going to just then open it slightly and let the egg white go in, and then I'm just going to put the yolk in there. I know that no bits of eggshell went in, but you just want to always have a little check on it. If you find that you're not quite happy with how to separate the eggs, then just do it in 2 cups and then you can see if there's anything you need to take out and then put it in. It's also easier if your eggs are at room temperature. If they've been in the fridge, then they're a little bit stickier to use, so room temperature is best. I'm going to just put these in my compost bin. Okay, so I'm going to use my egg yolks for profiteroles, and I'll do another video on that. I've got my egg whites in the stand mixer now, and everything looks great. The stand mixer's clean. You have to make sure, egg whites can be funny, so you do have to make sure that your bowl's clean and dry before you put anything in. So I'm going to switch it on, I'm going to put it up to high, and it's going to whisk for a couple of minutes. Now it's been beating for about 2 minutes, and I'm going to just let you have a look and see. So it's still quite frothy and it's not quite solid enough yet to use it as a meringue, but you want it to get to this kind of stage before you start to add the sugar. And all I'm going to do is just add a little bit in at a time, especially when it's icing sugar, because what can happen is it'll just go and kind of explode if you add it in while the machine's actually running. So I'm just going to put it on again on a slightly lower speed. Now that's incorporated that in. So all I'm going to do while the machine's running, I'm just going to put it down to low speed, put in a couple of spoons and then speed it up again. If you're using a hand mixer, then you would add a couple of spoons of sugar in, and without the mixer being on, you would just incorporate the sugar into the mixture and then switch it on, and that stops it from exploding up the way which I have done before. You can see it's starting to thicken up and take nice shape. I'm just going to put the rest of my sugar in now. There's not very much left. Now that I've added all my ice and sugar in, I'm going to beat it for 5 minutes on full speed. So all I'm going to do is just scrape down from the sides, because with a stand mixer, unlike a hand whisk, you do have to scrape it down, and there's just some bits of sugar there I can see. It's been about 4 minutes, but I just wanted to stop and scrape this down so that I can incorporate it in. But you can see that the meringues actually, it's lovely, and it's only got another minute to go and that'll be it. When I first started to make meringues, I didn't beat them for long enough, and the end result wasn't the best, and I lost my confidence with meringues, and I didn't make them for many years. And it wasn't until I actually watched someone doing it I realised that I hadn't beat it for long enough. So don't be tempted to skip this bit. It does take a little bit of time to beat it. So I'm going to give it 1 more minute now on high speed, and then that'll be us. So we're back, and the meringue's been beating now. It's had 5 full minutes on high speed altogether, and we also had a few minutes of incorporating the sugar, so it's had quite a lot of time. And now we're just going to scoop it down. I've preheated the oven to 140 degrees Celsius, and the meringues are just going to take 40 minutes in total at this temperature. If you do them at night time for the next day, you can switch it off and just leave them in the oven. They are quite soft to begin with. They take a little bit of time to harden up, so don't think that it's wrong if after 40 minutes they're still a little bit soft, because as they cool down they get very crisp on the outside anyway. Now, it's always a little bit messy. I tend to use my fingers, which I will do in a second, and get all this lovely meringue off the balloon whisk. So what I'm going to do is the simplest, easiest way that I do meringues, and it makes it really good if people are coming round, or if you want to do this with your children or anything like that. I just have a short baking tray, and on top of it I've put on some all-purpose greaseproof paper, because you need something that's going to be non-stick. And I've tried it with tin foil, and tin foil isn't as good. If you use this, it's just very easy, and they come off of it very simply. I've got 2 spoons, exact same size. All I'm going to go and do is go in. I'm going to just get it into kind of a circly shape, and then put it down nice and gently on the paper. I'm going to do the best I can to get them equal sizes so that they cook at the same. If you've got some that are small and some that are really big, then the small ones will go quite dry and crispy, and the big ones won't be cooked long enough. You don't waste as much by putting it into a piping bag. You know, if you pipe them, then there's a lot of stuff in the bag itself, whereas I find that this is really simple, really quick and easy, and there's not as much waste. Now at this stage you can have a look over them and see if there's any that are a little bit smaller than the others, and if there are, then you can put a little bit more on and just make them a little bit more even. Mine's are all pretty much about the same size, so This one's a little bit hollow underneath. I'm just going to add a little bit more onto that one. But the rest of them are all pretty much about even. So now all I'm going to do is put them in the oven for 40 minutes at 140 Celsius, and then they're going to be delicious. So we'll see you back once they're cooked. So we're back. The meringues have been exactly 30 minutes in my oven, and you can see that actually they look really nice. They've risen a little bit too, and all I'm going to do is just loosen them up off of the baking paper, just very lightly. Just because they're warm, as they cool down, you know, the steam can make them stick a little bit more, but I'm just going to lift them. Now these are actually fairly firm and crisp on the outside, but they're quite nice and light. They will crisp up more, but they're quite nice and light on the inside. So I'm just going to show you, these two were kind of stuck together, so you can see that it's just really nice, really soft inside. If you feel that it's a little bit too soft and mallowy, then you can put them back in. I'm just going to break a bit off. Oh, look at that. It's so nice and chewy on the inside. And that's absolutely perfect. It's so nice. If you want it to be a little bit drier on the inside, just leave them in for a little bit longer. But actually for me, when that cools down, it goes very chewy on the inside, and that's what everyone seems to like about the meringues. But they're very simple and easy to make. Very tasty. The only other thing I was going to talk about was the sugar. Because Maisie, my daughter, pointed out to me the fact that I use like icing sugar. And I was saying to her, yeah, well, I've tried like brown sugar and other things, and they don't work. So it really has to be white sugar. I've tried like lots of healthier options, and the way that I found it worked best is just to use the smallest amount I could to still just get that nice sweetness without it being overly sweet. So when you buy meringues in the shops, they're usually far too sweet for my taste, because they normally mix them up at about 70 to 80 grams of sugar per egg white. So I use 50 grams, and I find that it's sweet enough without being overly sweet, and that's what I like about it. So these are delicious. You can mix up some double cream or heavy cream, as you say in America, or you can put anything you like with it. You can top them on things. And once they've cooled down, if you put them in an airtight container, they will last for at least a month. So you can do them in advance and then decorate them when people are coming round, and it's such a lovely thing. And I absolutely love the shape of them. I think they look really nice. Like, you don't have to pipe them. You saw how simple and easy it was. So I hope you've really enjoyed this. You can let me know any comments you have or anything else you want to see, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.